everyone, hello. How's everyone doing today? All one of you. Cryo! What? Last time you tuning in from good old Cleveland. Where you, oh, you're moving. You're moving, right? Did I read that somewhere? Where are you moving to? I want to say Chicago? Did I make that up? Chicago. Yeah, I didn't make that up. See? I follow you. I know what's happening in the world, in your life and stuff. Awesome. That's fantastic. What are you doing in Chicago? What's just uprooting your life? You know, like, are you in the witness protection program now or something? Or like, what's up? What's up? It's just me and you on the stream today, bud. So I wanna hear what you got. I wanna hear it. Is my camera weird? Let's look. There. That looks better. My camera weird? Is my camera acting funny? Anyways. Yeah, well, if you aren't going to tell me, then I guess I got to get on with the stream. But, so what we're doing today, I think, is going to put some finishing touches in the, onto the Interactivity API. Our new job is located there, still remote, but also wife's family's are. Oh, cool. And Illinois just works better for us in Ohio. Nice. So where are you working? Where are you working? Can you tell us? You working for the CIA? I don't know why I don't know why moving can only mean witness protection and or CIA. Alpha particle. Wow, that sounds cool. That sounds super cool. Oh, nice, very nice. That's fantastic, man. See, WordCamps work to get people hired. That's great. So like you're like a, what are you, front end, lead, back end, full stack? I don't know what the kids are calling it nowadays. Yes, nice, nice. Yes, you do all the things. A bit of DevOps, bit of everything, right? That's great. That's like old school webmaster stuff. I love it. I used to work for a guy, and I was his web guy. That's what it was. If it happened on a computer, that's what it encompassed, which was like including like social media marketing, which is hilarious. You know, another small company working on much bigger long-term projects. Great, man. That's awesome. Well, congratulations. That's exciting. I did a move for a job a bunch of years ago now, and it was the best decision I ever made. Well, my wife and I ever made, I should say. We moved to Ottawa, Ontario, from where we live now, actually, and it was great. The job was awesome. I got to meet a ton of people, and then it set into motion a series of events that got me to where I am today. So you never know. Change is good sometimes. Sweet. Well, yeah, wish you the best, and of course, keep tuning into the streams. Because that's all that really matters. That's the important part. Cool. I probably just blew everyone's ears out with my microphone there. Okay, cool. So let's get back into this. I have I've been looking. So, I wanted to share this too. So there's this fantastic discussion going on in Gutenberg, and it's for like showing off the Interactivity API showcase. So people are dropping stuff in here. I've added a couple things down the bottom, one of which is the to-do that we're working on. Also this little slider that I'm pretty sure I showed everyone on stream before. So if you've got stuff that you're working on, you got cool things you want to share, that's what the link is for. That's what that link is for. I think that's the English version of what I just said. And so check that out. There's some fun things going on in there. Cool. Anyway, so that's what that's. I don't know. I don't need to keep talking about this link. I don't need to keep talking about it. All right. So if we remember correctly from last week, this is what we're working on, right? Ciao, Erica Yerkio 83. How's it going? Ciao. Welcome. Thanks for hanging out with us today. Oh,
you're welcome.
Yeah, see? She said you're welcome. She needs to stop talking. Here we go. I don't know why that happened. Anyhow, okay, so this is what we're working on. So we have a to-do app, number to-do 1, to-do 2, so on and so forth, right? So this is working so we can, Something's not right there. There's a bug. There's a bug, friend. Yeah. Well, you're welcome to use it now. So there's a bug there that we got to fix. But anyway, so this allows us to, you know, complete these. We can delete them right out, and then we can actually show. We added some on navigation, so I don't know if you can see that in there. But it's actually, I'm gonna turn my bookmarks off so we can get more access to it. So this is putting a /active. This is putting a /active. Completed and all active completed. Oh, okay. So it looks like we got to fix something in there because that needs to be focused as well. So it shows them all. We can clear the completed, all that stuff, and it all saves to local storage. So that's sort of what we have going on today. So the first thing I've noticed is this is broken. So we got to figure that out. Figure out why that's broken, and we have nothing going on in the back end yet. And I was actually talking with Luis, who's like the big brain behind a lot of this, about getting it so we can get the URL fragment and then have so basically I think what we want to do is here is have it. I don't know if this works. So no, it doesn't. So what we want to do is we want to grab the URL and have the server set this up for us automatically, so we can do that too. Well, there's a lot that we're going to do today. And if we finish all that, I want to share some big changes I'm making to the AQL plugin, doing a bunch of stuff. Anyhow, let's get into it. So the first thing I want to fix is whatever the deuce this is about. So let's do that. All right, so here, clear that in PM start. Okay, we got our build process happening. Let's do that. Let's just refresh this to make sure. Yeah, that's super broken. Okay, so let's look in our so the render.php. Render.php. We should have. So this is X items left. Oh, because I have them both going on in there. That's not what we want at all. I think what we want is just to get rid of this. I believe I had that in there as an example. I know why we were doing this. Right. Okay. So let me get my memory back. There is no way of updating HTML currently. The issue that we were running into last week, if I remember correctly, was the original markup looked like this. And so what we'd want to do here, right? So let's just do some pseudocode here. So the original markup looked like that. And so what we'd want to do is we'd want to basically replace this with, have this be replaced by the API, right? But in order to do that, we can't update inner HTML. Full stop. We can't do that yet. Now, I was talking with Luis, and he was saying that there is a dangerously set inner HTML directive that's on the roadmap. It's just not here yet. So that's then I don't know what I assumed it would be something like the WP like set whatever. Yeah. Well, like in React, there's a dangerously set inner HTML property. And that's basically going to mirror this. I have no idea what it's going to look like, but probably something like dangerously, it's going to be horrible, dangerously set HTML. I would imagine it's going to be something along those lines. There'll be some sort of state, there'll be some sort of getter function that will derive this inner content from the state and then put that in there. My guess is they're going to actually keep dangerously in there because that's why React has the word dangerously in there, so you know this is dangerous. Because you could put a script tag in there and be like alert, or delete, right? Like you could do something like that. Technically, I want to do it. Don't need that. Just need to close the old script root tag. You could do something like that, or probably even like you'd be able to do script injection, which is not good, but that's why it's set to dangerous in HTML. Now, the thing is about that is that WordPress it's going to be an interesting question because WordPress doesn't really, it escapes most things, but this actually doesn't get saved to the database, so it probably would be fine. So anyway, so doing it this way is not currently possible. So what we had to do was we had to change the markup ever so slightly. So what we're doing is we have our outer span, which has got our to-dos left, which is just a number, right? And then wrapping the items left. And that's going to replace it. So if we do this now see we have one item left, 2, 0, so this is all being handled. This actually is just a placeholder, so we could even do that right now. So, and it's still going to work, but it will flash a little bit. So that's something that I want to figure out too. So because what's happening there is then there's state.to-dos left and state.items left. So to-dos left is going to be the number of to-dos, and then items left is going to be, we're using the I-18 and the internationalization stuff to handle the pluralization of this. Anyways, so that's what we're doing there. That's why that was all work. So that's fixed. First bug, squashed. Excellent. I don't even remember what we were doing next. I think there was something to do with editing too. The other thing we had to do was we tap on this. All right, the focus thing was not working. Because what should happen, let me get the example up here. MVC to do, what is the, there we go, to do MVC.com. So if we look at the React example, basically, we'll put one in there. And what should happen is we should double click that, and then when we click anywhere else, the focus needs to come back. All right. So there's a couple things that we got to fix up there still. Okay, so this is our example. Okay, so let's close this down. Oh, if you want to follow along, this is actually what we're building it for. Wait, you can't sit in your HTML, but you can output n elements. Sorry, wait. Correct question. Wait, you can't set in your HTML, but you can output n elements for to-do items. Yes. So what I can do is I can output text. So I can bind to text here. So the data WP bind or text directive is going to set the text of whatever element it's attached to, right? And so that's what we're doing. And so in my view, this is just returning a string. So this function is being run and returning a string. So it's just returning a string, right? Template element above for the to-do items. What are you talking about? This? Wait, I'm so confused. Oh, well, let me back it up for you then, Corey. Sorry. So yeah, so the template item is what we're using to loop through and display, or so the template tag is what we're using to loop through and generate our list of to-dos, right? So there's some state that gets, so this is the each, and so basically each item in state.getToDos to display will generate one of these, right? Now this down here just so these two items, this manages the text to basically plunk a number in there, right? And so if we look at to-dos left, it's just filtering out, it's just getting a number. It's getting the length of all of the to-dos that are not set to completed. And then the items left is going to just return a string that says basically blank, like number left, and then, you know what? You know what? I can definitely do this differently. So this is duplication, right? Because that's exactly the same code as that, is it not? It is. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to say state dot to-dos left. We're going to call that, right? Because then we're just going to reuse the same state function, right? So this should still work. It does. Ooh, why'd that break? Can I not call it in there? Oh, maybe I can't call it that way. Okay, so I probably have to, where'd that go? So instead of doing that, I'm just gonna call, I'm gonna do the state.to-dos left. It's interesting. And then this will give me my num left. And so this is just gonna replace it. And it's gonna, if it's 0 or more than 1, it'll give us items. If it's 1, it'll give us item. All right, so this should work. Oh, State items left. Oh, I broke something. What did I break? Did I break something? Let's see. Oh my god. That's weird. So let's get. That's right. Why is the second one not updating? Okay. Interesting. That's interesting. Okay. Console log on the left. Let's see what happens there. Refresh that. It's not being called. Something's up. Something's up. I broke something. So this is to do no items left. So state dot items left. Just make sure we're building. This is weird. What? Okay. Well, let's okay, let's do this. Put that back. Okay. What the heck? Why? 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 Is it why? Oh! Thank you. Yes, that's exactly right. It's a getter. You don't call it, you don't instantiate it, you just call it. Oh, thank you for that. That's exactly right. That makes no sense. No, it does make sense, but that's weird. Okay. Okay, so let's see. There we go. Oh, just squirrel. You just save the state. Save the state. Save the stream. Thank you for that. That's awesome. That's a really good. Okay. I want to put a note in here. Maybe I'll just do this. Hint. Don't call state to do here. There. That's because it's not a. Well, it is a function, but you don't have to call it that way. Thank you. Yes, that makes total sense. Okay, well done. Well done. Anyways, so where I was going with that was we're not going to duplicate some code. We're just going to get the state.todos left in here. And so on and so forth. Who did that? Who was that? Cryobot. Corey, you're the best. Nice call. Good call out. Thank you. Okay. So that's working. That's working. That's working. That's working. All right. So, I'm gonna get these things working. So let's look and see what this is now. So this is classes selected. Okay. So I need to know. Okay. So what we're gonna need to do is we need to bind this. Okay. So yeah, let's get the logic in place so we know what we're showing, right? So where's the show active to-dos? Get to-dos to display case state.view. Okay, so state.view. We should be able to so where am I setting state.view? Focus, show all to-dos, show okay, so state.view has got active. Okay, so so what we want to do is we're going to need to do this. There's a data WP, is it class? It's class name, I think. Class name. There's got to be one in here already. Let's see. Oh no, it's class. So WP class. I'm gonna do this. So, sorry, no. So class, and then whatever the name of the class that we want it to be. So this will be selected, and that's going to basically have to. Let me get rid of this. So what this will do is this will add the class if whatever happens in here, valid returns to true, right? So so context to item dot completed. So this is going to be. Okay, so what it'll be like basically state dot is, does this work? I don't think this is gonna work, but let's try it. I don't think that's gonna work at all. No, it's not working. Okay, so I need to in state. I need to go. So I'm gonna put these down here. Get to display. So we're gonna say, oh, okay, we need to do this. We're gonna set. Wait, no. Okay. So is showing all. Get that the function. Okay, and then it's going to do is showing active. We'll set that to active, and then we'll do is showing completed, and we'll just set this to completed. So this. So in here we should say state dot is showing all, is showing all, and then we'll do the same. Oh, then I need to just duplicate this. And then this is going to be, oh shit, what was the spec? Oh, it's selected. Okay, that's the name of the class. All right, so is showing, what is it, active? This should be is showing completed. Okay, so hopefully now, when I flip through this, all active, completed. Okay, so we're gonna say, or state dot, or no state dot view, because that's the default view, right? There we go. That's what we want. So the default view is all. So we go active. Yep, works. Completed is done. Active, active. So what? How does this work over here? Okay, so that doesn't need to be updated. Okay. All right, so that's working. We got active. We got completed. And then if we clear completed, okay, cool. All right, getting there, friends. I like it. Okay, this I don't like. This I don't like. And the other thing too is I want to set some default state. So we're gonna do that in here. So in here we've got WP interactive state. So this is like, this is gonna be, what is it? View. This is gonna be view. I'm gonna set view by default to all. I don't need all those arrows in there, right? We need just one arrow. Default is going to be all. And so this is going to give us this from the server. And so I shouldn't ever need this now, because this is going to be, it's going to, by default, it's going to be set to the all state. So if I refresh this, we should still get this class here. It shouldn't change anything. Yeah, it does. So, but if I set this to, if I get rid of this line, there'll be no class set. See what I'm saying? So this is like this state. Now keep in mind that this state sets states, the same state for every instance, and that's probably fine, because this is like before we retrieve everything from local storage, which is where it's being stored. We don't know anything about this, so we know we want to see all the to-dos. We think there's no to-dos left, and there's no to-dos. So that's setting us up our default. Now the thing that we probably want to figure out here is we want to be able to get this URL fragment. So let's how do we get that? Okay, so PHP get hashtag hash from URL. Hash from URL. There we go. Let's see. I haven't done this in forever. So we're gonna go. Parse URL. Okay. Oh, parse URL. Okay, great. So I'm gonna say, let's do this. We're gonna go URL equals parse URL, and then that's funny. How do we get the URL from? You know how long it's been since I've done any of this stuff? Ridiculous. Ridiculous. PHP get current URL. Get current URL. A server request URI, of course. Of course. All right. So we're going to do this. I'm just going to put this in here. And then I'm going to break everything by saying die var dump. Because this is how professionals debug. And all the PHPers on the call are like, oh my God, Ryan, did you really have to Google that? I did have to Google that. And that's fine because we all learn differently. And I haven't done PHP in forever. Shut your faces. So what's this? There we go. Interesting. Let's no longer dump that. Let's just var dump it so I don't kill it every time. So this, that's right there. Okay, so then if I go active, refresh this. Why am I not getting the goddamn DM? There should be no. This is brittle and I don't like it. Okay, so we'll do this. I'll click that. And I'll refresh this again. It's weird that I'm not getting that though. Okay, I think that maybe not to be including parameters, I guess. Sure. Get the full URL PHP. Server request URI. I feel like this is something I should be getting out of here. I'm just gonna start up server right now. So what we got in there? There's gotta be something in here that I need. Oh Lord. So I can't believe this is taking me so long to do this. Request URI. That's the request URI. Path. Home. Nope. Boom. 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 Request method. Get string. That junk. Oh, it shouldn't be that hard to do. What the hell? PHP get URL hash in current URL. Is it because it's it seems like it shouldn't be this hard. Is it doing that because the what you call it? Sorry, let me try something here. Maybe I don't need that. Maybe I'll just take these off for now and see if that fixes anything. Other shit. Yeah, okay. So there's a query there now. It's not showing up as that. So why is the hashtag not? Oh, get out of here. I wonder if WordPress is stripping it out. All right, well, let's make some changes here. I'm gonna go like this. I'm gonna go view. I'm gonna do this for now and see what we can do there. Yeah, I think we're gonna have to use that. I think that's what we're gonna have to do. So I click this. I should have, yeah, there we go. So query, I've got view is active now. Query variable, bye bye. Oh, it'll be get. It'll be a get variable now at this point, right? It will. I won't need to do all this stinking get. What is it? View. Well, and I need an underscore because today is my first day with PHP. Thank you. Thank you. There we go. Active. Okay, cool. So I'm gonna grab that. I'm gonna go is set get what's that? I'm gonna use it. Otherwise, it's gonna set it to all. And boom. Get rid of this. And why is that yelling at me? Unexpected. What's unexpected? What is this? Unexpected. Oh, it's comma. Sorry. Okay. I want to do escape. Oh no, sanitize, right? Sanitize key. We're gonna do that because just in case, just for giggles here. So if I change this to, I go to completed, boom. There we go. So now the server is doing that for us. Josh Cooper, thank you. You were thinking what I was thinking. You just said it first, so it seems like I didn't think that, and then I was like taking your idea, which there's a 60-40 chance that it actually happened. Welcome to the stream, first time chat, thanks. Yeah, so that's cool. So we're gonna go all, so that works. All right, so that's done. Thanks for hanging out, Josh. Appreciate you. Okay, cool. So this is basically this gives us all the default settings state when the page or when the app is first loaded. Bam. Okay. And yeah. Sweet. Okay, so what is the next thing that we want to do? So we've got server-side rendering or what do we call that? Basically, processing the fragments, right? What happens if we do this? Boom, boom. Yeah, it works. So it shows me all of them. That's pretty amazing. Now let's, so that should be that, but if we get rid of this, okay, so that does work. That does work. It's excellent. All right, next thing. Next thing was, I'm not super happy about this, because I feel like it should be simpler. I feel like there should be a simpler way of doing this, because this is a very simple function. And I wonder, maybe I just need to be better at what I do, but I feel like this is just needless duplication because this is the only thing that's changing. There might be a simpler way of doing it. I guess we could there's something we could probably do instead of doing. But then we're into like different sort of complicated things. Anyways, I might mention that to the folks because like can this be more simpler is the word I'm looking for. Simplified. Thank you, computer that writes code for me. Okay, so the other thing we wanted to do is this sort of Respond to the store change to enable focus. Focused. Console log. What's this? Where's I doing this? Only thing is simplifying would be probably more on its code. Well, that's the thing. I could write one function, but then I need to know the context of this. So like I'd probably have to do something like data context, and then put the all like that, and then access that inside there. But I feel like, I just don't know if this is possible, but it would be very cool if we could do something that was sort of like if we like defined an anonymous function, something like this. Like if we just did, let's try it. This would be super neat. Basically, where is it? If I were able to do something along these lines, right? Like if that validates as true, I don't know if that's gonna work or not. State is showing equals true kind of thing. Yeah, exactly. Like this seems, anyways, I don't think it's gonna work. Oh no, it broke. Completely broke. Maybe there's another way of doing it though. This is where Kevin would normally chime in and be like, Ryan, you're dumb. Do this differently. Like maybe what I need to do is wrap it. Kevin! Yeah, where's Kevin when you need him? Yeah, I cannot read property undefined. Reading view. Oh, view? What's view? State. I wonder if, like, if I don't know. I feel like I would like there to be a simpler way of doing that. Like simple value lookup, right? Something that just looks at state and just says, is this true? Is this false? Like, state dot view. I wonder what that does. Does it do anything? Oh, state dot view. Okay. Huh. So that's interesting. So if you just, yes, it does because it's there, right? So state.view is there because it is an actual thing. So you could set this up in such a way, but that's not good. Is showing all. So we'll put this back. I'm going to bring that up and see if there's a way that we can like do simple evaluation in the sign. What oh, you just redeemed Kevin. That's what it was. Okay. All right, so that's good. So the thing that we need to do now, hidden if no complete items are left. Okay, so let's look at this focus thing now. That would be handy. Yeah, because there's gonna be a lot of times where you have to write a simple function just to return, just to check against state, and I don't, maybe that's an issue with the way I've defined my state. I don't feel like it is. But we can figure that out. Okay, so this is the thing here that we're figuring out. No. Oh. Who dat? Sanjay Developer, thank you for the follow. Appreciate you. Welcome to the stream. Is this your first time on the stream? Thank you so much for hanging out with us today. Okay, so this is need to focus this and then on blur have it go away. So this is kind of where we left off last time. So this is the edit class, and I'm gonna do this so we can kind of see what's going on here. So okay, our input looks like this. So we're binding the value. So this is context title item. So on blur, the edit on blur goes away. Focus. So, but the focus. So when let me add this one. Active. Oh, active. So I'm gonna uncheck this one. So when I double click this, it goes into there. And now when I click into it, it's focused, which is fine. And I click off, it's fine. If I double click this, I don't have focus, so I can click anywhere. So it's not getting focused on the double click. And maybe that's how we do it. So let's look. So let's on the the double click. So this on focus thing doesn't seem to work because we want to apply focus to it. So the double click is happening where? Where's the double click happening? Button. All right, on double click. Okay, so when the label is being double clicked, so here, then this becomes editable. And then, but the focus event is about, okay, cool. And then so on the double click, so let's look at on the double click. Maybe that's where I need to do. Is being edited? No, we need the toggle complete, more complete, edit to do. Okay, so this is setting the to do that is being edited. That is being edited. And then we need to do some kind of context. So let's go. Okay, so there's a helper in here. There's a couple of helpers. So what I'm gonna try to do is get their element. So the element should be, it's gonna be the label, but we're gonna try to grab it from outside there. So we're gonna go debug log ref. And debug log is a custom function that we're using down here because this is a proxy and it has to parse it and do all of that stuff. So I'm using that so we can actually see it here. So let's refresh this. This music's pretty good today. What do you think? Does anyone like the music? Let me know if you don't. So double click, bye-bye, debug. It's interesting. What did that do? Did that? Debug, attributes, text. Ref. What is that? L. What does that mean? Oh. Maybe I don't need to. Maybe I'll just console log it. I think I just needed to console log that one because I don't think that comes out as a proxy. Ref, label. Okay, so it's a label. Okay, so we're gonna go. So I think there's a thing that I learned about is the thing. We're gonna go ref dot the closest closest li. Let's do that. What happens? Ref dot closest is not a function. There we go. So that's the li. Inside of the li, we've got edit. So then it goes dot query selector. I love how this just knows. And then is this gonna work? And then I just put a little focus on it. Put a little focus on it. I don't think that's gonna work, but we'll see. It can't be that simple. It's not that simple. Oh, undefined. Okay. So let's make sure we got this thing. So this is the edit. that's the right thing. So if I come in here and grab this, inspect, I just set focus on it. Can I go focus? That's what I want. Okay. Oh man. Settings, focus, and JS. It should be a focus method, right? Focus. Oh. Oh. I don't know if this is what this is gonna work. I wonder if it's just not happening fast, if it's happening too quickly. Let's see, so I'm gonna set a timeout for 100 milliseconds. That, I don't know. Let's just see. Let's refresh this. Double click. Oh, I didn't import it. So there's a really handy little tool called with scope. And what that does is, if you need to do something from outside of the store, like we ran into this with the set interval that we were having on the slider, the gallery slider, without passing scope into this, it's not going to be able to, like, I can't access any of the stuff as far as I understand it. So let's see. So that's still not working. Oh. Wait, can I go dot click? Can I trigger an event? Possible? I don't think that's doing anything. Hey, Kev. Oh, Kev's here. He's gonna tell me what I'm doing wrong. Oh, I think I had to do it the other way around. I think I have to do it like this. I think that's the problem. think I have to have this the scope in there, something like this. That's still not calling, and that's really super duper annoying. Hi. Heard the cab signal. All right, you rang. Oh, Kevin, we're trying to figure out what is going on in here. Double click. That worked. Okay, so that gets called, but then this is not being called. So it's super annoying. So what I'm trying to do is this. Right? Focus. Let me get rid of this. Double click. I get it, but it's not double click. Oh, wait. And then I want to go. How did I do that? Hold on. I know I'm going to do this right now. Look at the gallery slider. My set interval. There's a set interval on here somewheres. Okay, so I'm going to do something like this. The set interval, none of this is right. So with scope, I'm going to do this. And sure, we're going to set it to, I guess, 100. And this should be, I'm going to say set time out. Oh my God, did that work? This worked. Okay. It just worked. So do that. Okay. So that works. Let's try it the other way. It works. No, it works. And I do recommend it. So yeah, I can change it to 0 delay. Of course I can do that. Ba-boop, 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 ba-boop. Worked. Boop. Okay. So that's weird. Okay. So that's what I was talking about. So I don't think it would, Kev, but let's go inside the timeout. Yeah, Wiscope goes inside the timeout. What did I have going on? Did I have the other way around? I think I was trying both ways. So that was strange. So that's got us doing this. Because if I just did a set timeout without the Wiscope, I want to see what this does. Not set this. I'm not going to do that. Test. Works? No? Sure. Okay. I don't think this is going to do what I want it to do, but let's double check. Double click. No, you can't get element outside again. Okay, cool. So that's where the Wiscope comes in, because this gets called. I think Kevin explained it to me because he knows what you're talking about. No, this is the one that works like that. So this happens outside of the thread, basically. I believe that's the way. Kevin, you can probably explain it better than me because you're smarter than me. But basically, this happens without the context of the scope of what's going on inside the sub. Is there something like an on-mount directive that will run if something is inserted into the DOM? I don't believe so, but that's a good question. Well, there is. Like, if there's a DOM event, DOM events, insert item. Document DOM node inserted. So there should be, if we go to the block editor handbook and we look at directives, there should be something that we can do. Whoa. We should be able to get it. So here are the directives. So there's on document, what was the thing? Document on DOM inserted. So there's document. So we could probably do something along those lines. I mean, on the element itself. There's on. So if there's an event that happens, it might work. Dispatch DOM events. That's a good question. I'm not sure. The thing is, it's not inserted. It's just shown and hidden. It's all there at the beginning. At the beginning, like it's here. It's just not being shown. So it's not being inserted. It's just being hidden. But that's interesting. Okay. All right. So that gets us works to set the focus on the clicked to do. Okay. Let's test it a little bit here. So I double click this. That's working. Double click that. That's working. Double click that. Click over here. Click over here. Click over here. Click on this. Double click. Click on that. Oh, there you go. Okay. That's pretty effing sweet. That's right. This is a PG stream, yo. Nobody on YouTube today. That's okay. That's okay. The set timeout might be confusing to everyday developers. In the sense of what? Like confusing as in why we're using it? Is that what you mean? Yeah, how it works is annoying. Okay. We need to delay slightly to allow the code to allow the to do to be focused. The to do edit. What is it? It is a label, right? Input. Yeah, I'm gonna mention that. I'm going to bring that up with the Deveroos there, and we'll talk about why. Like if there's something else that we can do, if there's a better approach for this. Some good stuff. Oh, Kev, you weren't here, but I wanted to mention it to you because I don't know if you remember last stream. We where is that piece? So we wanted to be able to insert our HTML in this line here, where it's like the X number of items showing. There is no directive to do that yet. There is a dangerously set inner HTML equivalent directive that's on the roadmap. So that would be how we do that. I don't know when that's coming, but just wanted to let you know, so you know. So you knew, and now you know. All right. So what's left to be done? What's left to be done? So we've got, we can do this, we can do this. We got setting active, completed, and all. We have our URL responding. So I completed in here now. Let me show the completed ones. That works. Right, test. Don't you start with me. I don't even know how we would test this right now. I guess we would need to do end-to-end tests. I guess we'd probably need to do some end-to-enders to do the implementation, the front end part, because that's the only way to test front end stuff. All right, maybe we should read the specs or the specifications for contribution notes, app specification, structure. Okay, structure, we have to do our own thing. Dependency management, we're sort of kind of doing our own thing there too. Checkbox toggles all. Excuse me. clear button. Yep, that's persistence. That's working. And no way of routing. Okay, so I think we have everything that sort of satisfies the spec. Oh, so let's push that. I'm gonna push that up. All features completed to the best of my ability and Kevin's. Do that. We're gonna push that up. That's pretty cool. And then I'm gonna go ahead. I'm really loving this studio thing. They just released some stuff. They just released an update to it, which is pretty neat. This is cool. It actually shows you what it looks like here now too. So I'm gonna update my demo site, which I've already done. So one really cool thing about this is you can see that there are sites. So if I drop this in here, this is going to be the hosted version of the site of my local development environment. So this has not been updated yet because we fixed that bug. Well, that wasn't a bug, but we fixed it. And when it gets updated in a minute or 10 or whatever, it'll have everything that we've set up. Not just my code, but how I have the whole site set up and everything. So it's a really great way of demoing this kind of stuff. Yeah. So, yeah, cool. So, what was the other thing that I was going to do? I think that's good. I'm glad that we finally wrapped this up. I have this awesome tendency to half finish things and then not actually get them completed. So you know what I want to do? I want to. Wait a minute. What am I doing? I'm gonna go to the physical site. That looks okay. Looks all right. Let's see. Refresh. Come on, friends. What's the hold up? Oh, there we go. Might just take a minute or two. Keep revisions, not revision. Oh, that'll take a minute. Okay. Anyways, whatever. Oh, that auto thing isn't actually accurate. All this code doesn't live there. You know where this code lives? I'll show you. GitHub. Not in there. It would be right here. Interactivity API to do MVC. So this is where all that code's getting plunked up there. So you are welcome to go and rip it off, use it, do whatever you need to do with it. Just do what you need to do with it. Just go ahead and do what you need to do. All right, moving on. First of all, let me pause. Any questions? Corey, I know you missed a bunch of the streams that kind of preceded this. There was 3 in total. Is there anything that you have questions about or want me to go over again or whatever? Okay, cool. I don't think I need this. I'm gonna get rid of that. We're gonna do that. Helpers. Okay, I'm gonna just actually go ahead and clean up some stuff. We don't. I wanted to share something with you guys, with y'all. I'm working on a pretty substantial overhaul of my advanced query loop plugin. Specifically AQL. Advanced query loop plugin. If you're not familiar with this plugin, this is my plugin, and go ahead and download it right now. Go download it, install it right now. I'm trying to get to 1,000. Kev, what's your plugin at? Code Block Pro. Let's look. Hey, M Mechanic, how you doing? Here's Kev. 7,000 active installs. Keverino. Look at this guy. Killing it. This is a great plugin. Go download it right now, too. It's fantastic. I use it all the time. It's good stuff. But anyways, I am looking at trying to get a much better way of... oh, did someone give me a 5-star? Oh, I got one. Nice. Got one. That's very, very cool. I have to respond to that. Anyways, what I'm doing is I have a big PR in place that I'm working towards right now. Where I'm basically I'm going to restructure everything. There's a huge change of stuff. Got some composer going on, all these classes. Well, to do what? It does actually. It already supports the Interactivity API because Query Block does. So the pagination stuff is done that way, which is pretty handy. But so what I'm doing is I have this really, like, I don't know, I'm pretty proud of it, I guess, but I'm a nerd, so there's that. So I've included this class now. So basically the query loop used to be this massive file. Like, it has so much going on. I'll show you what it looks like in chunk right now. So I have some helper functions that I kind of plunked up here, and then the hooks itself. Like, so I am like spaghetti coding the shit out of this thing, and it's just like it's processing everything top to bottom, and then it does it again, processes everything top to bottom, because there's two places that I need to filter it. One is on the front end, one is in the block editor. So what I wanted to do is standardize all of that, and so the file is significantly smaller now. But now I've got this class that I'm calling query params generator, and what it does is it generates all the query params, right? But it's all in PHP, so this is knowing these are all the parameters that it handles, and then basically we're going to call a function that's called process underscore whatever the name of the particular thing is, and I have to wrap that inside of a function call our method exists, or whatever the PHP version of that is. So each one of these, and then I'm using PHP traits. So each one of these this class has a trait for each parameter that it needs to process. So like if you're looking like date query or whatever, exclude current. So it's going to just basically add that and handle all the functionality inside of that. So I've reduced a ton of code, and there's no duplication anymore. So I'm pretty happy about it. And I added a whole bunch of PHP unit tests, which I'm also pretty excited about, that tests all this stuff. So I've been working on it, and I think, can I explain traits? Yeah, sure. So basically, a trait allows classes to use pieces of functionality, right? So you've got a number of ways that you can compose classes in PHP. So you have an abstract class, you've got an interface, you've got and a trait. So basically a trait is reusable reusable code that you can use in other things. So if I had it, let me back up. So you can use an interface. An interface basically says that this class needs to implement this interface, and this interface must have this function name, this thing, right? And which is really great, but it's not standalone. It basically creates a contract saying that the class needs to implement that stuff. It needs to have a function called get the thing, have a function called update the thing, whatever, or method I should say. Whereas a trait can be standalone. So a trait can be used in any number of classes, and it sort of like adds more functionality to it. If I'm sure the PHP folks in here would be able to explain this a lot better than I have. But what I wanted to do was, I thought that I was going to need a class to handle all the processing from the front end, so on in the first hook, and then a separate class to do all the processing in the other hook. And so I thought if I used a trait, then I can include that same trait or I can use that same trait in each class, and the functionality wouldn't change. It would just, I wouldn't have to duplicate that code again. So, but it turns out that I don't have to do that, because the way that I'm including things, the way that I've sort of designed this class is that in the constructor, it takes two parameters. The first parameter is the default params that come from the query loop block, so the built-in stuff that AQ has, and then an array of custom parameters are the stuff that AQL adds, right? So then I can get that in a couple of different places. So on the back end, I have default query, which is the default query, and then I can pull the query parameter that I've added, which is an array, and pass it in that way. And then on the back, sorry, that's the front end. Then on the back end, I can get all the args that are passed to it, and then I can get the params from the request, because this is a REST call, and so I was able to basically do that. But it does mean that down the road, if I want to add another class that sort of handles things in a different way, that I can just create a new class and I can tell it to use these traits, right? And so it's pretty neat. Like, so this trait relies on the fact that there is a that the class that uses it has a custom args property, and a default params property, and custom params property. So like there is a bit of like, in this case it's bound to it a little tighter than it probably should be, but it works well. And then when people hopefully want to extend this plugin, all they have to do is create a trait for whatever thing, and then come in here and tell it to use the trait, and then add the parameter to the list of parameters. Did that explain properly? So basically a trait allows you to like have a bunch of functionality that you can decorate classes with, right? Yeah. And so like you can do things like you can have a class that implements an interface and also like uses a trait. I like this a little bit better. I used to be a big fan of abstract classes. So an abstract class is a class that gives you like a bunch of functionality, but then also says, oh, and it has to be extended. So you would have, so you could have like a abstract class, whatever, my base class, right? Like that, and then so this class would have, you could have like a public function, do this, do thing. Oh my god, if I could type, I'd be really good at this. Do a thing, return hi, right? And then so any class that inherits this, or that extends this, is going to get that. But then you can also do things like you can say, I also want a public function called do another thing, right? And I think you just do it like that, like this. On abstract method done. No. Oh, abstract. Sorry, you have to say abstract. So you say it's an abstract, I think, public function, right? And so then if anybody, if you wanted to use this class, what you would say is you say my new, so you say class, my new class extends my base class, right? Like this. So this is going to say my class gets everything that's in base class, right? But part of it, I think this is even yelling at me. So this is saying my new class does not implement method do another thing. So in this class, I have to basically create this function and say whatever it needs to do, right? Another thing. God, can't type. But you know what I'm talking about. So that's how abstract classes work. And what's cool is about it is it's really great if you wanted to like have a class do a whole bunch of, there's a bunch of use cases for this. I've used this a fair amount. I didn't need to use that here because I wanted my the main class, the query params generator class, to basically just check, does it have a param, you know, can I get that parameter, is the parameter, does it exist, can I, and then retrieve the value from it and then process the parameters and then give me all of the stuff. That's basically all I want this to do. And it shouldn't care how it does it. It just knows I have two things, and then based on a bunch of other, you know, I basically just need to return my custom params and process a bunch of stuff, right? And so that's all it needs to care about. And so I offload all of the, and the other thing was I don't want to have an interface, because an interface implies that like I know everything that needs to be done in here, and I don't yet. So what this is going to allow me to do is just add more functionality, change functionality, remove functionality, whatever I need to do to be able to add and change things to this, which has now got me thinking that maybe this needs to be accessible via the trait as well. So when you use a trait, it automatically handles this stuff. You know what I'm saying? We'll see. I don't know. Anyways, so that's a big thing, and I actually found this really neat bug in AQL. Well, it's not neat, but it's a crappy bug, but it's a bug. Can you explain interfaces next? Sure. Yeah, sure. So I haven't used interfaces that much, but basically interface, you would define it as an interface. We'll call it my interface. I have to look this up. I think interface, right? And I think it just goes like this. Let's look this up. I have to remember PHP interface. Okay, so same idea. So it's the same idea as an abstract class. So you're going to say that this class needs to have a public function. Come on, function call. I'll get there, guys. I'm sorry. Function called do something. It takes a single parameter, so we'll say thing to do whatever, right? And I think you just do that, right? Yeah. Okay. So this is very similar to what we just saw in an abstract class, right? And so we're gonna have another public function do another thing, and then say another one. That's my okay. So then all this is doing is this is just generating a contract for what anything that implements this should do. So you can say my class, you can call it whatever you want, right? So like a trait but no functionality. Exactly. So it's closer to an abstract. So it's closer to like an abstract method in an abstract class, if you want to think of it that way. So an abstract class can have like concrete methods that do a thing, and then also it can create a contract saying anything that extends this has to implement these things. So that's kind of like an interface and a trait. So you say my we have to say class, my class, and we're going to say implements my interface, right? And so this is going to give me errors saying oh that's not the error. So this class doesn't implement do something or do another thing. So what we'd have to do is we'd have to come in here, we have to say boom, and then I'm just going to make it it doesn't matter what it does right now. It just has to implement it, and it's probably yelling at me that I didn't do the other thing. Yeah, so there's the other thing. We do this. Right, something like this. right? Yeah, cool. So that can do that. Now, if you wanted to have a trait, right? You could say my trait, and we're gonna do this. And then what if we did this? So if I take that out of there, I think you can do this. And this is going to be a piece of functionality. This is going to be this function, right? So, and I'm getting to. I'm going to explain this in a second. So then I can say use my trait. So this class, if I were to instantiate this class, sorry for all this stuff. This is giving me grief because I'm not supposed to have multiple things in files. But basically, this is going to be pretty much the same as that abstract class that I created, right? So I'm compiling a class based on a trait that's going to give me some functionality and an interface, which is telling me I need to define some functionality. So why would you use the difference? So what would be the difference? So let's say that if you're doing like a class my connect, right, to DB, for example, right? You're going to have some kind of function, public function called connect, right? So, and then in here, this could be like any DBase in the world. So we don't know the implementation of that, right? So we can't write a trait for it because the trait's got to be a thing. So we'll probably want to have some kind of interface for it. So you say that like so we could create an interface. No, you'd probably have a number of these things, but you'd have an interface called DB connection, right? Connector, let's say, if I spell it right? And then in here, you're gonna have something like this. That's gonna say, it's gonna give you a connect function. Let's say it's gonna give you a disconnect function, right? I don't know, whatever it's gonna do. And then we're gonna, so if we implement that, DB connector, what that means is, what we can do then now is we can have like connect to MySQL, right? And then you can have another class that's connect to, give me another database shadow. I don't know, what else? MS SQL, right? Whatever. So then this is going to SQLite. Yeah, so you can do this for every single one, right? I would have gotten here earlier. Oh no, Justin's here. Justin knows PHP. We weren't really doing PHP. I was just kind of showing them the stuff that you and I were talking about, Justin, with like the traits and everything. So I'm kind of going through it. So, yeah. So then what this allows you to do is you can have a class with some base functionality, right? That is going to then implement some sort of interface that says, okay, well, this has to have a connect and a disconnect method. But you need to fill in the details of those because they're going to be different for every implementation. Like, you know, connecting to MySQL is going to be different than connecting to, I don't know, ASP? I don't know, MongoDB, whatever, right? So, yeah, so that's a really good use for an interface. So also, you could do the same thing in an abstract class and not use all those things. You could have your abstract class be called database, and then you'll have some abstract functions called connect and disconnect, and then when you extend that class, you would need to do your thing. This just means you don't have to do like a class that extends a class and all that stuff. Now, I think there's some rules around what can be implemented and inherited and things like that. I don't think abstract classes can use traits. I don't know. Justin would probably know more about that than I do. I just have to do a bit of digging on it. But yeah. So that's why I went with traits in this particular case. I think they're the most flexible for what I want to do down the road. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Oh man, it's great flexing those PHP muscles. I haven't. They're small. They're not big muscles. They're little muscles. But I haven't done it in a while. Oh, and Mechanic, thank you for the sub. Appreciate you, friend. Yeah. Does anyone have more questions about that PHP? All that PHP goodness? PHP goodness. Hey, Justin, do you know if traits can augment like a constructor? Does that make sense? What I'm saying? Like, what if I wanted to have? So I had this const here, right, in my PHP class. Now, if I wanted to have this list of consts, it's a const, so I can't change it, but I could do it a different way. If I maybe I could just have it. I have to figure that out. I'd like to be able to have it so in one of my traits, I have something that says, okay, add me to the list of things that's going to be processed. I have to figure that out. So I don't know if you can do that though. Maybe it's just a function that it accesses. Oh. I don't know. There's got to be a way of doing it. There's got to be a way of doing it. Something in here, maybe. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I gotta think of, you know what? Let's just Google that. Let's say PHP traits have access to constructor. I don't know why they would, because I don't think it's. What's this? What is this? How to overload class constructor within traits. That's, I think, exactly what I'm looking for. Trait, construct, method exists, this and that. Let's plug in. Oh. That is ugly. I don't want to do any of that. I don't want to do any of that. This music's got me feeling a little like this. Okay. Base constructor instead of. No, I don't want to do that. I don't think I want to do that. What I want to do is have like get need to figure it out somehow. It'd be nice if I didn't have to update this. When you just use this trait, when it gets instantiated in the constructor, it gets called. I mean, I guess we could do it that way. I could do something similar to what I'm doing here. Call user function, and then in here I'll have like an add me or something that happens. I wonder if that would work. No, but no, it's not gonna work because the name is not gonna work. Oh, I'll do some more digging. I'm in the weeds, and it might just get more complicated than it needs to be. Okay. Mechanisms for code reuse in single inheritance language. PHP. Trait is intended to reduce some limitations of single inheritance by the ability of the developer to reuse sets of functions. Okay. So let's see. You put magic methods in a trait? Oh no. Traits composed from traits, abstract trait members, static trait members. I don't see why you couldn't. It's just adding another piece of functionality. Oh, interesting. Precedence over order example. An inherited method from a base class is overridden by the method inserted into. The behavior is the same for methods defined. Okay, the precedence order is the methods from the current class override trait methods, which in turn override methods from the base class. So trait has access to parent. Interesting. I think I need to maybe redesign my trait a little bit. I'm using a lot of this, which is fine when it's working, but that is interesting. I think so. Sorry, I just read your question again. PHP magic methods. So magic methods. Let's look. So for those who don't know, magic methods do some pretty cool things. Like get is one. Serialize and serialize. Is there a get in here? Like I'm just gonna get. Yeah. So it allows you to. Where's a good example of get? So property overloading. So what this is going to do is it basically allows you to get the whatever name that you pass to it. So like in functions, so let's say that you have a let's just do a really simple example here. Let me get rid of some of the stuff. And Justin, feel free to chime in, right? So if you just have a class like this, right, and you've got a property, right? So you got a property called, we'll make it private. We'll say it's a private property. And it's going to be private. We're going to say data, right? Equals stuff, right? What do I do there? What am I missing? Stop yelling at me. Ah, okay, I'll get rid of that. So you have this thing. So what you can write is you can say function get data, right? And it'll return data. That's the basics of a getter, right? So you just say, give me the data. Oh, sorry. Not that. You say this data. So this refers to the instance of the class. And you can say like CLS equals new my class. Boom, right? And then you can say data equals CLS get data. Right? So that's how you would get that particular thing. But what if you had like bunch of stuff, data 2, data 3, so on and so forth, right? I don't know why you'd have this much, but maybe you did. Data 4, data 53, sure. Sounds great. And maybe this will stop yelling at me if I do all that. Right, so then you're gonna have to, what does that say? Oh, okay, sorry, you need public. So you're gonna have to write one of these things for each thing, right? But if you were to do, what is it, public, I think it's get, right? And then you say get the name, right? Let me just make sure I've done that right. Dash dot, yes. Public function get name, okay? So what this should, it's like unexpected. Oh, sorry, I forgot the name function. So get name. This is going to return whatever you pass into it, right? Return name. Now this is dangerous. You should do this a different way. You know. But basically with the idea behind, why is this yelling? I'm not spelling function right. That's probably what it is. Yeah, because I never spell function right. Right. So what this is going to do is this is going to allow you to say, how do you call it then? I think it's called like this, right? Should have, yes. So then you can then now say data 2 is CLS, and then you just call the name of the property, data 2, I believe, right? So that will give me, okay? And then now you have this magic method. So whatever you sort of tell it, it's going to do. I think that's how that works. Right? So property test declared, get hidden. Those words get hidden. Get hidden should be a function. It is. So this is this hidden, right? And then so you call it like that. So declared is here, right? Anyways, so that's how you could get access to all of that stuff. So you wouldn't need to have create a getter for each one. So to answer your question, Justin, yes, you can put those in there. Class object and post method. Yeah, for sure. This is an easy way of doing that, and it's scalable, it's extendable. Like what you're gonna want to do though is you're gonna want to wrap some you're definitely gonna want to wrap some this and some stuff, right? This data. To make sure it exists. I think it might fire a fatal error. I'm not sure if you call that without if it doesn't exist, right? Yeah. Anyways, so that's what a magic method is, and there's a set version of that, and there's a whole bunch of other ones in here too. There's the PHP page for that, right? Invoke, set state, clone, debug info, unset, is set, blah, 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 all that stuff. Yeah, cool. Well, that was fun. Little PHP goodness there. Love it. Yeah. So anyways, yeah, I'm gonna delete this because I'm doing this in my AQL class, which is kind of funny. Okay, cool. Yeah. So anyways, so that's what I'm working on. I'm hoping I can deploy that sooner than later because there's a bug fix in there for if you're using the plugin and you're trying to exclude the current post, but you're on a template, it doesn't work because it saves the data incorrectly. So there's a fix there that I have in place, which I can talk you through actually. So the exclude current, if it's on a single post, it gets the post ID it's on. If it's on a template, it doesn't get that. It gets something else. Let me show you what it actually looks like. So in the exclude current test, so what it does is it'll return whatever this is. So this is your theme name and this is your template, right? So for example, that's what will get returned and be saved in here. So what I'm doing is globalizing the post that it's on. Now I'm thinking that if it's on a place that doesn't have a post, I don't know how that's going to work, but we'll have to figure that out. Anyway, so there might be some other things that we have to do. It just might not be a good idea to put on a template that's not tied to a particular post or piece of content. Corey, I inherited a WordPress project with OOP PHP code using interfaces and traits, etc. Others on my team were hesitant to deal with it, instead building simple functional plugins to work around stuff. I'm finding it intriguing and attempting to push us toward OOP for site-specific logic. Object-oriented programming is super powerful. It's really powerful. It requires some thought, and it requires making sure that you're planning things out. But yeah, it's fantastic stuff. Now that WordPress is getting closer to modern PHP. We're still 7.2. 7.2 is the minimum version now. We're dropping support for 7.1, I think, in the next major release. But yeah, there's some really, really, really cool stuff that you can do. You should look into design patterns when it comes to object-oriented programming because it solves real-world problems that are otherwise really hard to figure out. The best example that I in my career for that is refactoring.guru site. What's that? I haven't tried. Well, now we gotta do that. Refactoring.guru. What is this? Oh, this is great. Design patterns. Oh, catalog of patterns. This is so cool. This is great. Well, I like this music. Decorator. What is the observer pattern? So I actually used the observer pattern one time in Flash back in the day, which we built a really complicated system, but it wasn't easy, but it was like much simpler to implement because we had this pattern to follow. Basically, it was a what should you do for a living quiz for Algonquin College in Ottawa, and it was like you answer a bunch of questions, and based on those questions, it generated a word map of like all of the courses that they offered. And so what we were able to do was have each item, and it would update after each question too, right? So each item was an observer of the main part, it was able to update itself based on that. It just solved some really serious problems very quickly, and all we had to do was focus on the actual implementation rather than figuring out how we're going to have 100, 200 little pieces of things respond to changes based on weights of scoring and all this sort of stuff. And it was all handled with the observer pattern. It worked really, really, really well. So the singleton pattern is a thing. Is that even structural patterns? Is that in here? Creational patterns. Singleton, very controversial, but I don't know. It's used a lot in PHP, in WordPress, a lot, maybe too much. But basically, this is a class that only allows itself to have a single instance, which is quite handy in WordPress. I worked on a very big site when I was at 10 Up, and everything was a singleton class. Every single piece of functionality that was a singleton. I don't know. PHP is great. Design patterns are great. They're a lot of fun. This is a really cool site. I'll have to take a look at this. So it's a course. You take the course. Refactor. That's no time limit, single pace. That's really neat. Thanks for sharing that, Corey. That's awesome. Well, just after noon my time here, usually we shut her down, but does anybody have anything they want to chat about or questions about anything I was rambling on about today? Structural patterns, adapter, composite, decorator, flyweight. No, I'm gonna dive in. The rest of my day is now shot. Yep, I agree. I think part of the problem is that the singleton allows you to just basically call the class directly and do what you need to do on it. Does it manage state very well? I don't know if it does, but I don't know if you need to manage state for a lot of times in WordPress. Because otherwise you have to instantiate your plugin, and then you have to get access to that instantiation somehow, right? And that's why people just need a single instance that you can call from anywhere else in your code, right? So if you're in a hook somewhere and you want to, run a function that's on your class, you have to get access to that class. Do you globalize it? How do you put it into the scope of where you're running it, right? So the singleton approach kind of negates all that, but it's overused and it's probably not the best way of doing it. I'm sorry, Justin, I'm not explaining this to you. You know this. I'm just sort of for the rest of the folks here. It's a thing. It's a thing. Maybe we should do some design patterns in for blocks or something. I don't know. Maybe there's a thing there. Maybe not. I don't really know. But hey, you know what'd be really cool is bring me your PHP design pattern stuff and we can mess with that. Maybe we should get in some old school PHP. What do you think? Not today, but maybe we should, in a couple of streams we should dive into the old PHP, the good stuff. Talk about transients and all that fun junk. Before I forget, there'll be no stream is there a stream next week? Let me check the calendar. There may or may not be a stream. All the design patterns for blocks would be good. Yeah. Let me just see. Next week is... No, there is a stream next week. Sorry, it's the week after that I don't have a stream. Because I will be away. So never mind. Never mind. PHP focused series of streams. Okay, cool. Well, let's get some topics. Let's get some ideas. Let's get some ideas on my Twitch channel here. Or my GitHub. I'd love to see some stuff. So issues, throw them in here. If you have anything specifically PHP focused, throw it in there. That'd be really cool. We can get some ideas for some things. Yeah, because what are some common issues that people are having with PHP, especially like in the block development side of things? Like, are we having problems with PHP? You know? Hey, yeah. Oh, that's cool. Work or start a scaffold for WP. Want to set up a good problems? Any others worked on? Yeah, you know, a lot of what you can do is you can abstract a lot of it away. And excuse the pun, abstract, but what you can have. What I used to do, so before I joined 10up, I worked in an agency in Ottawa, and we had an MU plugin, and we had sort of like a starter. We had a child, or sort of like a parent theme, and then every one of our clients, you know, in here, everyone does this, I know, but and then it would use that parent theme. And the parent theme would set up a number of things, and then all we really had to do was have the person who was implementing the child theme access certain methods, right? It's probably a singleton, but and do it that way. So what you can do is, if you're able to design all of your classes and everything, then you can abstract away a lot of that stuff. And if you're in charge of the code reviews, just don't pass them until they start using those new PHP features, right? You know, like, don't approve them. Just make, you know, it's very similar to adopting block development as well, right? Like, it's, you know, it's a lot of stuff. It's the learning curve thing, and it's hard. It's definitely hard. You just have to allow people to. I'm assuming you're in like a lead role, or like engineering manager, or like sort of running the show over there. So if I may, you have to allow them the ability to fail and feel like they're not gonna, you know, it's not a shot to their ego, or, you know, a risk to their job. Because again, when I was at 10up and Gutenberg came out, a lot of smart PHP folks were feeling like I'm gonna get canned because I don't know anything about React or JavaScript, because I've never really had to work with it, right? So no, but it's fine to be forgiving. It's fine to be forgiving. Like, people can make mistakes, right? People need to learn. People need to learn in a safe environment, especially when it comes to their employment. If people come in thinking like, oh my god, if I don't understand what the null coalescing operator is, or the spaceship operator, or any of that stuff, I'm gonna get fired. That's probably not a really great work environment, right? So that would be my recommendation, is just you know, do internal training. One thing that worked really well at 10up was I had office hours, sort of, where people could sign up, and it was anonymous. Not to me, but it was anonymous to the company, and nobody asked. And you know, so you could do something like that, where you can say, you know, if it's a remote company, especially, just be like, I got 5 slots this week, sign up for them, and we'll chat through it. And now the difference was, I wasn't their boss, I was more like their peer. But if you set up an environment where people are allowed to fail gracefully and allowed to fail without embarrassment, I feel like people will be easier to okay, well, yeah. So if you're like just like a more senior developer, then that's perfect, because then you can just be like, this is, you know, here's a place, come ask me the dumb questions, and there's no dumb questions, come ask me them anyways, all that sort of stuff. It worked really well. I had like a number of people come back from multiple sort of chats, and just sort of, and a lot of it is like, don't worry, you're not gonna get fired. you know, I'm happy to explain this thing, you know, however many times, like, and just, you know, if that's in your wheelhouse and, you know, comfort level and job description. But I think that's a really great way of like leveling up your team in a way that makes them feel like they're not at risk. And then you'll actually be able to, you know, on the flip side of that, you'll also be able to see very quickly who's interested in learning, rather as opposed to who's interested in just doing what they've always done and not changing, not driving, because that's an indicator of like, well, maybe this person needs a bit more of a formal, you know. Yeah, and you know, but Justin returns that favor with all of his theme design PHP knowledge. So I think the scales have shifted as to where I owe him a lot. So, anyways, but yeah, that's my 2 cents on leveling up a team. I mean, now my job is to help level up, you know, half the internet or whatever, right? Oh, Justin sent me some Blackberry. Yeah. Actually, Justin, well, we talked about this. We're doing a team meetup in a couple of weeks, and you can't bring a cobbler on the plane, so whatever. It's a thought that counts. So, anyways. Anyhow, that's exciting. That's an exciting new job for you there, Corey. Okay, well, anyways, I'm rambling on here, so I think I'm going to shut her down. But unless anybody has anything they want to chat first, I'm going to let y'all go. Have a great weekend. We'll see y'all next week. And next stream project. I don't know, Kev. What is the next stream project? I'm working on a presentation tool, a slide, like a presentation tool that is for slides. What am I saying? Let me just show you. It's a presentation, slideshow presentation. Let's see. Can I just show you? Let's just see. Now it's rough. So basically, what this allows you to do is this is a slideshow that's built with the Interactivity API. Studio's pretty good. I've used it on a number of things. So this is my slideshow, right? But I'm gonna go full screen here. So I have a notes. So I pressed N and my speaker notes come up. So I have these speaker notes that are handled here. So as I'm navigating through my slides, it shows you what slides you're on, and I'm hitting, you know, so this is my speaker notes and stuff. So this is all done with some pretty custom, so 2 custom blocks. I've got a slide block, and then depending on whether or not notes is true, it will actually render the slides, or it'll render the speaker notes. And yeah, the studio's pretty good. They just did an upgrade or an update, you know, a pretty minor one. So far, so good. I did have one issue with it last week, where it just did some really weird stuff in the block editor. I don't know if it was a conflict with maybe one of my add-ons or one of my extensions, but then I just rebooted it and it was fine. But oh yeah, and the other thing is I press S and I've got the slideshow here, and you can I allowed it so you can, how do the 2 blocks stay in sync? Oh, I'll tell you in a second, Kev. I'm hitting the arrow keys here, and so you can define these talking points. This is not, it is actually centered on my screen, but half my screen is off the stream here. But so you can do all of this, right? And it's just showing this stuff and it's going through. I'm just gonna come out of full screen here. I'm using broadcast channel. Nope, not using a library for the movement at all. I am using the Interactivity API. So this is a variation on the slide. Oh, that's not what I want. This is what I want. Maybe we'll get into this next week. Maybe this will be the deep dive into it next week. But where the hell is it? Presentation. So the Interactivity API is sorry. There's a slide. There's a presentation slide, and this is handling. This is almost all exact code for the that I used for the gallery slider. I've just sort of updated it for next and previous slides. The way that it's talking to each other is with broadcast channel. So in my notes, I'm doing a custom template. Let me show you here. I'm adding a custom template. Oh, that's not what I want to do. And basically, if notes is in here, I'm hijacking it and I am loading this template. Inside this template, I'm instantiating a broadcast channel. The broadcast channel is listening for messages, and then it's actually sending messages back and forth. And then in the presentation as well, in the view, on the init slideshow, I'm creating my own broadcast channel, and then I'm talking. It's basically just telling the slideshow that it needs to move up, and then it sends another message, and it gets the current context to the notes window, so it stays in sync like that. It's a bit rough at the moment, but that's how that's working. In the actual post itself, let me show you here. So I've got slides. So it's a presentation block that has a single slide in it. Right? Maybe you just see the current slide number. As it gets out of sync. Yes, but it needs to show the speaker. I'm sure there's another way that I can do this, but basically at this point, my notes window is in sync with whatever's showing here. So if I move that, it's going to slide it, so these are the speaker notes for this slide, these are the speaker notes for this slide, so on and so forth. I haven't put it through its paces yet, but it's so far so good. But anyways, so the slide has got this what I'm working on making things talking points right now. So what I can do here is I can make this a talking point by just adding a talking point class. And right now it just fades in and out. But what I want to do is I want to be able to define it as a talking point and then set the transition type. But maybe the transition type is better set on the presentation level. I don't know. Anyways, so but what I'm really proud of is this thing. So if I hit my speaker notes, I get a pop-up, but it's a block editor. So it's a custom block editor that's in my modal, and I can it's limited to right now heading and paragraph, I think. Right. And I head to, and so if I save that, I update this, and I come in here, I should be able to get the notes back again. Load the notes in, and so those are my speaker notes right there. It's, like I said, super rough. There are some things I'm running into. For example, clicking this pops it up back here, right? Where do we sort of content of the modal? Oh. Skadev 1. I am storing it as a attribute. So if you look in here, these are my speaker notes in here. So it's being stored as an attribute. I can show you the actual code for it here. Is it in here? Modal speaker notes. Speaker notes is a thing. So basically, what I'm doing is I am going to serialize. I'm serializing and parsing the block content from that particular block editor. So I have a custom block editor in here. I'm only allowing 2 block types at the moment. I wanted them to allow lists, but there's some weirdness in there. I think it has to do with the fact that there's 2 block editors on the page, and I don't know if that's ever been done or needed to be done. So there's some conflicts happening. But basically, when I hit save, it's serializing the blocks that are coming from the block editor and saving that as the speaker notes. But they're speaker notes, so I mean, I just wanted to be able to have an order, and that's sort of maybe load it in an iframe. Maybe I'm not sure yet, because there are some weird things going on. Let me kind of, as I was saying, I wanted to be able to have block inspector here, so which it works, but it was always targeted at this block inspector, and the formatting works, which is nice, right? Yeah, and I can't get rid of this, and this is in the wrong, it works, but it needs to be popped up, right? So it's because it's in a modal, I think that's what it is mostly, is that it's in a modal. If I have if I wanted to do a list block, for whatever reason, when I hit enter from inside a list block, it's not working. So there's some things that I have to figure out, but this is kind of where I'm at with it right now, but I just it's kind of cool. This is sort of like an alternative UI for rather than putting it in the sidebar, because putting speaker notes in the sidebar would be a nightmare. Like you wouldn't even be able to do this. And it means that we can now sort and do whatever we want to do in here, right? It just like there's no colors or anything because the sidebar is not working. But yeah, I mean maybe looking at it in an iframe. I think it's because there's just things that are being connected here, like because there's only one slot. Fill. Anyways, I have to play around with it a bit more. But yeah, but that's the idea. It's kind of like an interesting little proof of concept. I have to go harass the Gutenberg team and be like, this is what I'm doing, why isn't it working? And have them tell me that I'm just doing it wrong. So, yeah. Oh, I would want to see my slide as I add speaker notes. Well, you can technically. You can jump down here, right? Hit speaker notes, and you got your slide here. But you'd have to go into each slide to get access to the speaker notes, right? But I get what you're saying. It'd be very cool as well to be in here and then say next, like go to the next speaker notes instead of having to close it down. So there's definitely some UX stuff here that I would like to fix. And then like the front end's a little bit all over the place too. Like, you know, here's there we go. We'll just do this. And then it's full screen, so you see I've got like 2 arrows now. And what's cool is that it's I had to show you this part, but it knows the modal covers the content. Yeah, it's true. I mean, it's a modal, right? It's meant to pop up. But maybe what we can do is we can have a preview. That's something that I'd like to add in, is the ability to have a preview for the next and previous slide, right? And drag functionality. Yeah, sure. Yeah, why not? And then we'll do some retina scanning, you know, breath analysis, you know. So one thing I'm super proud of is the fact that it will only advance if, you know, it won't advance until there's no more like talking points to display, right? So, but I can show you how we did over. Yeah, let's do it. Gonna over engineer everything. So there's a lot going on in here. This is probably something that we should talk about in more detail. But basically, I'm adding directives to inner blocks. So a presentation is a block. Does it have audio? I will punch you, Kev. It can support whatever blocks support. So if you want to put audio in there, it'll absolutely work. I guess I haven't tested it, but so there's a presentation block that only allows. It's basically just inner blocks, right? So it's just very simple. It's inner blocks and it allows slides. The slide itself is here, and it's basically another inner blocks somewhere, and it allows whatever you want, right? And so what I'm doing is let me just close all these. So in the presentations, I need to add some directives to the inner blocks, right? So what I'm doing, and this is a fun use case of the Interactivity API and the HTML tag processor. So I'm taking the block content from, this is from what block is that? That's from the presentation block, so the main block. And then it gets the sort of the main element, which is right here. We're setting a bookmark. So in the HTML tag processor, you can set up bookmarks. So you can say, put this over here. I'm gonna come back to it later. And then what I'm doing is, since for each slide, I'm looking for, well, there's like a slide. We're gonna bookmark called slide. We're gonna set an attribute, which is basically going to say, this is gonna, because I have different things happening when it's presenting and when it's not presenting. For example, when it's not presenting, all the talking points are shown, and when it is presenting, then they're faded out, and then you move in, right? Then I'm counting the slides, I'm setting the order to 1, all that stuff. And then, so then for each talking point within that slide, which is what this is doing, I'm setting the active talking point. This is the show and hide. I'm setting the order, and I'm setting the data slide is the total slide. So I have an attribute that sets the order and the slide number, and then I'm counting that in the thing, right? And then I'm going to jump back to slide, which is back up here. Then I'm going to release the bookmark and then remake it with the next slide, and so on and so forth. then I'm gonna go back to main, and I'm gonna release bookmark, which is basically just like letting that memory go. I'm building a bunch of context, setting some other stuff, and then I'm setting the context on the main part, and then updating the HTML and returning it out. So, yeah, so there's a lot going on here, but yeah, maintenance nightmare. You're a maintenance nightmare. This is not production. Well, I'm gonna try to use this for my presentation when I work in Canada, so we'll see how that goes. But yeah, anyways, it is a bit of a maintenance nightmare. But the point is to see how far I can push the Interactivity API and all that. So, anyhow, that's the thing. Oh yeah, first you insult me, then you tell me it looks good. Yeah, whatever. Backpedal. Just kidding. Awesome, cool. Well, maybe we'll get into that a bit more next week. Maybe that's what we'll do. We'll just look at this and we'll see what we can figure out with the block editor and try to make it a little less maintenance-y cab. Just kidding. Cool. All right. Well, I'm gonna let everyone go. I think. Unless there's any questions or anything in there. Cool. Awesome. Okay. Well, it's been great chatting with you all today. I will talk to you all next week. Hit me up on the Twitters or the whatever if you have questions about anything that you saw here. All right. Signing out from Cleveland, Ohio. All right. Well, thank you all, Kev, Cryo, M Mechanic, Sanjay, who followed me, M Mechanic for the sub, and anyone else I forget. Thank you all for hanging out today. We'll see you all next week. Bye.